All right, guys, welcome back to the show. Appreciate everyone being here. I am going to bring up Chris here in just 1 second, but I wanted to do something here before we got started. Um, I have my son is going to be helping me here in the studio on Saturday nights, and we got to do this all official. Joe is going to sign his contract. Joe, you want to come sign your contract, son? He is very excited about this, y'all. So we're going to let him sign an actual contract. And there is your marker. And Joe is now the official producer. Here, come over here on camera, son. There you go. Now go ahead and sign up. Just sign it there on the bottom, right here. And good job. Joe is 10 years old, and he is very excited to be a part of Dash, especially here on Saturday night. So we thought we would make it official and make him a official part of the team. So, Joe, let me do my part. And that's it. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So we're going to get started. We got a good show for you tonight. We've got a guest here that I'm going to bring up now. We've got Chris. Chris is on. Chris is a friend of mine. He's actually been a part of. Hasn't really been a part of Dash, but he's going to be a part of Dash here pretty soon, doing some stuff with me. But Chris, you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, I'm just a regular Austinite here in Southeast Austin. I work in the event industry. I don't want to go into too many details in that, but I work in the event industry, and I guess I'm one of those weirdos that actually takes public transit. So I actually see firsthand what public transit is like and the public safety situation going on in Austin. And yeah, so I feel like I witnessed a lot of the things that you talk about firsthand. And I've you've said before, get out your camera and take pictures when you see stuff, because it seems like people just don't believe it unless, there's pictures. I guess.
Yeah, that's very important. If more people would take out their camera and start filming, making it public, putting it out there, I think a lot of people, what ends up happening is, they take the video, they put it out, and it doesn't get any traction, and people get kind of bent out of shape about it. They get discouraged, and you can't do that. When I started Dash, believe me, I had no traction at all. Like it took forever, and then finally, once it started happening, it happened quick, and we got a following, and the news started putting us on. But tonight we are here to talk true crime, and boy, I'll tell you what, I have a good one for you guys tonight. We're going to be talking about Randall Woodfield. I know I screwed up on the thumbnail and put Robert. I don't know why I want to call this guy Robert, but I want to call him Robert for some reason. But his name is Randall Woodfield, and so I came across this guy. For those that probably don't know, I've been working with Rich Bundy here for quite some time. Rich is the brother of Ted Bundy. And I've been interviewing this guy and getting him, we're making a video about this guy and his life and his life with Ted Bundy. So, excuse me. And in researching Ted Bundy's crimes and talking to Rich about Ted Bundy's crimes, I ran across this guy, Randall Woodfield. And the crazy thing about Randall is he was actually killing in the same general area up in the Northeast around the exact same time as Ted Bundy. And the crazy thing about it is he was actually driving a VW Beetle just like Ted Bundy. And I think it's crazy. Chris, have you ever heard about this guy?
I've heard about Ted Bundy, however you say his name, and no, I don't know too much about him.
Yeah.
It's really crazy that he drives the same car. You think he was trying to copycat him or what?
I don't know. So what's odd about this guy? So I guess we can just kind of start from the beginning with Randall. Randall is this guy seems to be one of these kind of outliers in a lot of ways. serial killers, if you study them enough and you read about them enough, you can kind of see that they all kind of follow the same path in life. There's indicators early on in life. A lot of them come from backgrounds that were less than optimal, so to speak. Randall, on the other hand, Randall was brought up in a upper middle class household. They were not bad off people. Randall was an athlete. He was a very very good football player, and he actually went on to play in the NFL. Um, but he has two sisters also. He has two sisters that one went on to be a doctor, and one went on to be an attorney. So in his family, they
It's not
they
like they weren't very well off or anything, At least
Yeah, they did well, and, all the way up and until, I believe it was junior high school, when some kind of, these indicators started popping up. Randall, had a problem with exposing himself early on. I mean, all the
that's
way
not
back
good.
in, in middle school, and the problem was he was so good at football, he got in trouble in high school. He got arrested for exposing himself. And this was back in the day, the 60s, 70s in that area, or late 60s. And the problem was the football team, the coaches, the people in the school helped kind of, shoo it under the rug, so to speak.
They thought it
That
was
way
no
he could
big
keep
deal, I
playing. And
guess.
yeah, they did. Well, his parents thought that otherwise. They knew that he was good at football. They knew that he had a good career ahead of him. So they made him go to therapy. But of course, here in the United States, when you turn 18, what happens to that criminal record? It just it goes away, right? So that's what happened with Randall, and it's just it blows my mind that this guy, you know, he's this outlier. He went from a good household, a good upbringing, all the way to serial killer and prison. So it just blows my mind. Chris, do you know what? How much do you know about serial killers? I mean, are you into the true crime arena?
Uh, well, I've read a couple of books about. Um, there's this book called Behave by Robert Sapolsky, and he's a
Yeah,
behavioral biologist or something like that. And I know that I don't. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I I guess a lot of them say more research is needed because we just don't. I feel like we don't exactly know what wires cross to exactly predict who, and exact. Like there are definitely early warning signs. It seems like,
yeah,
but
yeah, and
um, yeah,
that happens with a lot of these guys too.
yeah, like
They're
abusing
they
animals or stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah, exactly. And I'm reading a quote here. One of his football coaches in high school said that when he was with me, he was the nicest, most gentlemanly kid I ever knew. He was quite polite, hardworking, and real coachable. Um, so he a lot of his friends would say that he was a loner, that he didn't have a lot of friends, things like that. But all in all, he seemed to be a pretty decent guy. He seemed to be a pretty decent guy. And then he went on to do some horrible things. He didn't only kill. He did a lot of robberies and a lot of rapes. And you know, all the way up until he died, he refused to confess to any of them, even though they pretty much had him dead to rights on a lot of them. Um,
It makes
his
you wonder, um, when they say evil exists in the world, it's like, well, is that
yeah,
evil right there?
yeah, and what's sad is his first victim. His first victim was Cherry Lynn Ayers. And she went to school with him. And he ended up raping and murdering her in her apartment in downtown Portland, Oregon. So, and that's another thing, that with serial killers is when they are killing, they usually don't kill people that they know or that they can be connected to. And
Mm.
that's a lot of the ways that, that they're able to get away with it. Like BTK, for example, I've got a video on him that's coming out. He killed people that he could not be traced to. And same thing with Gary Ridgway and Ted Bundy, same thing. They kill people that are complete strangers to them. So, this guy, um, he was again, most people, even when he was killing, he was a guy that you would look at and people would think there's no way that this guy is a killer. He was not suspected simply because he was so well liked in the community. And that's another thing about these guys. It comes up over and over. BTK was the same way. Ted Bundy the same way. He
Very
was
charming, from what I
very
hear.
charming, very likable. Look at Gary Ridgway. I mean, this guy, he looked like, when you look at Gary Ridgway, I remember when Gary Ridgway was caught and I saw his picture. Um, Looking at him, he just looked like this meek little man that I mean, it's like you look at him and it's like there's no way that this guy is
Yeah,
killing all these women. What do you think? Do you
nobody
think
suspected.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that that's how they get away with it? For so long, do you think that's one of the ways that they get away with it?
Well, from what I understand about psychopaths, or people that don't, like, they have a problem, there's like something wrong with their empathy going on, but they
Yeah,
understand like how to use human behavior and human engineering, for lack of a better word, to kind of get their way. And
yeah,
maybe that's part of it. Maybe, because some psychopaths, right, some people that are, or sociopaths, whatever word you want to use. I know there's a distinction between the two, but um, some of them are work in corporations and do financial crime,
yeah.
from what I understand. Not my
You
understanding is
know,
probably not completely correct, but
hang on here.
but
I'm trying to. So I'm streaming to pretty much every place that you can imagine, and apparently, I'm not sure how. So most of my views come in on like Twitch and Kick and Twitter, and I'm only able to see YouTube chat right now for some reason.
hmm,
Hmm. You know what? I hate technology sometimes. So what ended up happening last week. I had an author, and what he very very awesome guy, very very good interview. But he talked me into changing my setup to StreamYard, and I was using OBS, which I was comfortable with, and now I'm using StreamYard, and it's throwing me for a loop.
yeah,
Um,
I know OBS is really nice. I know StreamYard, it makes it easier to bring on guests, but
Yeah, it does. Yeah, that was that's how he sold me on it. So, but anyway, so back to Randall. Yeah, so these guys, these serial killers, they they are these, nice guys. They are these folks that, nobody would ever think that they had anything to do with it. Randall Woodfield, for example, this guy killed for, quite some time. He started early, in the late 70s, he started killing, and, he wasn't caught for years. And the other thing that was odd about Randall Woodfield was most serial killers, when they start killing, they kill. Randall, on the other hand, was killing, robbing, and raping at different times. He wouldn't always kill, he wouldn't always rob. One victim, he may just rob them. The other one, he may just rape them. And then the other ones, he may do all three and kill them. So he's kind of an outlier. And he had that real big problem with empathy, like you said. He didn't look at people like they were actual people. So, I don't know. I don't know what it is in these guys' heads. Let me ask you this, Chris. When it comes to, somebody with an addiction like drug addiction or alcohol addiction, do you think serial killers, do you think that they have that same, do you think the compulsion to kill, do you think it is kind of like the compulsion to drink? Do you think there's any similarity there?
Yeah, I think, well, you know, what I'm thinking about here is, it's like normal people, they have empathy and they have brakes on the car. You
Yeah.
know, they may get angry with someone, but that, takes a lot to get someone to murder someone,
Yeah, for sure,
Uh,
for sure.
but I think with serial killers, those brakes aren't working right.
Right.
And it just seems like, you know, there's something going on with the empathy there where it's like, normal people would be like, hey, that's not right, or whatever.
Yeah.
I think, maybe we should bring on someone that studies this for a living, but, like it probably has something to do if, you know, they just don't care. Like they don't feel the same thing we feel. And they're like, they just want to go forward with it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, they uh, when it comes to their compulsions, like BTK, for example. His daughter, I was watching a show with her not long ago, and she was saying that you could look at his head like a block, and he could change faces within seconds. He boom, he could be dad, and then literally a second later he could be BTK. It's like he could be whoever he wanted to be, and he could change those. He could change that face within seconds, and that's kind of scary. Like Jeffrey Dahmer. I watch a channel called Publicly Buzzed, and those guys. It's such a great channel. If you guys haven't seen that channel before, you got to check it out. It's Publicly Buzzed here on YouTube, and on Sunday they have a show that they call Murder Church. And on that show, what they're doing right now is they're watching the complete Jeffrey Dahmer trial. And I watch that trial with them on Sundays, and listening right now. It's there's a psychologist that's on that is testifying, and this guy is talking about how have they literally feel nothing about these people. You and I probably, looking at other humans. I know, like here in Austin, I work in the space with the homeless folks. You got to have human compassion. You got to care about people. And looking at these folks living in the worst conditions possible, it's heartbreaking, even though they're complete strangers.
Yeah.
I think you probably feel the same way. I see, you're starting to do some work with us, and you're sending in pictures, and we're talking. So I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. No, I
So
mean,
and
definitely. Yeah.
these guys feel nothing. They feel none of it, and it blows my mind how a human can be that way.
Yeah.
You know?
There's some wiring going on there that, depending on how you approach it, I like to approach things from a, academic, like, why are they doing this? Right.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, I guess there's some wiring going on there that just isn't right. I don't know. Or it begs
Well,
the question: is it nurture or nature? Are you born this way, or are you? Is
we'll
it
see, and that goes back to Randall Woodfield. It was a lot of people say it has something to do with the way they're brought up. Well, by all accounts, Randall Woodfield was brought up. He had a really decent childhood. I mean, if you look at his sisters, one's a doctor, one is an attorney. They went on to have very successful lives. He was on the path to having a very successful life. He was a pro football player. He had a college education. He was well liked, but he just had that thing that compulsion to kill people. And I don't know. Can you look at siblings and think, well, the sisters were all right, so he was treated all right. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if you can say that
Hmm.
simply because the sisters grew up okay, that he had a good childhood as well.
And he never abused his sisters, as far as we know.
No, none. No, there was none of that in the house. Yeah. So that's what makes him kind of an outlier, is he had none of that. I'm going to try to bring on somebody, a psychologist, somebody that knows more about that. I'd love to talk to somebody about that.
Yeah, I'm sure they could shed a lot of light on things that we may not
Yeah. All
understand.
accounts, the guy was was a pretty normal, yeah, pretty had a pretty normal childhood. And we have our own serial killers here in Austin right now. Raul Meza. I'm digging into this guy right now, and then of course the Lady Bird Lake stuff. That's what the show was about last week. Was I had on William Ramsey, and he had basically written an encyclopedia about the smiley face killer. Do you know anything about the smiley face killer, Chris?
No, I've heard a couple of things here and there, but yeah.
Man, it's such a crazy thing. Basically, it's a theory that there is a series of killings around the country. It's not one guy, but multiple killers, and basically they have the same MO where they find men in bars, they drug them, they rob them, and they kill them. And I know for a fact in New York, there's a friend of mine. He is a Fox News reporter, and he was telling me that he was covering the series of deaths out of New York, and that's exactly what they were. There was 5 of them. Men were robbed in the bars, and then they were killed. They were drugged, robbed, and killed. And so that's what the smiley face killing stuff is over. And if you look at that guy's book, William Ramsey, check that book out. I bought it through on my Kindle, and it's such a great book. Not only does it talk about all the killings that's happened, but it goes into drowning forensics and drugging forensics. It goes into the sciences behind all that. So it's a really interesting book.
That makes me wonder with the Austin um, deaths going on. Are these people being robbed? Do we know that?
Well, so it's a good question, and here's the thing: the men were obviously found in water. Um, I know I've worked with every one of the men. So the men that were found this year, I'm pretty close with every one of their families. They had things missing off of their bodies, but the police say that it fell into the water. You see what I'm saying? They say
Mhm.
that the water took it away. So I
I think
don't
they're
know.
trying to protect the investigation, maybe.
They could be. They're obviously not going to say too much, but yeah, I mean, if you had your wallet in your jacket and you fell into the water and died, I can see how your wallet may come out, but um, yeah,
Because whether they're being robbed or not could indicate whether it's someone that's a true serial killer that's just doing it for the fun of it,
yeah,
or if it's something more, like you were talking about. It could be some sort of weird organized crime.
yeah. So, are you keeping up with any of the latest, the true crime news? Hey, Nikki, are you keeping up with any of the true crime news that's happening around the country right now?
Not too much. No, I feel like that makes me more paranoid than I need to be.
Yeah, there's so much going on, and since I've been digging into this arena, I've been spending a lot of my time researching, interviewing, and writing about this true crime stuff. I've been spending a lot of time with Rich Bundy lately, and I'm going to tell you right now, Rich is such a unique guy. He's in the middle of writing a fiction and a short story, and I can't wait to read this book. It's going to be crazy, but um, there's so much going on around the country. You got the Idaho 4 stuff, you got the Long Island serial killer stuff. I mean, you got so much stuff going on, and it's just there's the true crime community is such a great community. They're very accepting. I mean, these folks have taken me in and kind of made me one of their own. And I'm not a streamer. I think pretty much everybody knows that I'm not a streamer. This is like my second stream. So, but we're doing good, and I'm learning, and that's what this is about. I make videos. I'm not a streamer, but anyway, guys, I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody coming on. I mean, this was just a short stream. I had a guest set up tonight. I'm not going to ruin it. It's going to be we're going to have him on again next week, but just a short and sweet stream. But Chris, I appreciate you coming on with me, and
Yeah.
next time. Maybe next time this was short notice, and I had to set something up pretty quick because my guest kind of bailed on me. But I guess that happens when you're streaming, right?
Yeah, you have to expect the unexpected with technology and
I
schedules.
hear
And
you. All right, man. Well, I appreciate it, and we'll talk to you next time, folks. Head on over to Twitter and give me a follow. We appreciate it.